Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Sportscast podcast. Today we're going to be covering the first 3 days of the US Open, reviewing the ending of the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup, a little bit on boxing, covering anything up to the race of Formula One, first few days of the Ashes, looking into Queens before Wimbledon, and as usual we'll cover any of the Nations Cup international qualifiers, a little bit of transfer roundup, and talk about some of the fixture releases in the football. Kicking us off first today, we'll have a look back over the 123rd US Open, which day one started off strong for Ricky Fowler. Him and Xander finishing the day 8 under. He had a host of potential winners, sat a few back, Dustin Johnson, Rory. And Rory, again, bogey on the 18th, taking him 3 behind. His putting had been a bit down, but day 2, Fowler's kept his lead. Rory only 2 back, so he did gain a shot on there. How did you see reigning champion Matt Fitzpatrick hole in one?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say with Rory as well is I saw something earlier. Is he's never, well, one, he hasn't won a major in 9 years, and 2, he hasn't won sort of any competition where he's been behind on the 3rd day.
So he's always had the lead.
He's always had the lead going into the 3rd day. He's never come from behind, and it's just I don't see him winning.
Well, day 3, obviously I had to pick it up this morning. Fowler leads with Clarke. Rory's only 1 back. He's chipped away at that. He's gone 3-2-1. Clarke has missed the cut on the last 2 US Opens. Fowler's chasing his maiden win. He's not won a major. Hasn't been at the last couple of US Opens. He's not qualified. To be fair to him, he's dropped down the rankings, and I don't know if he's had a lot going on personally. I think, well, not a lot going on, but starting to build a relationship. He's got married and things. So, but Rory, last one the US, like I say, major 9 years ago, US Open 12 years ago. He hasn't really pushed for any. He's pushed for tournaments, but he's never, he hasn't taken a lead. And like Ricky's done, day 1 got a lead and maintained that. He's had a couple of other people joint lead, but no one stayed with him. I think that's sort of been Rory's sort of problem. And again, it all has really boiled down to, I'd have to have a proper look, but it all has sort of boiled down to when he moved to Nike. He never got into the swing of it with the Nike clubs, and just hasn't quite been the same. Boxing now, a fairly quiet weekend. You had Fraser Clarke fight on Friday night at London York Hall. 10 rounder, 1 all 10 rounds, never even looked like breaking a sweat. You also had Daniel Dubois' sister. She fought on the undercard, had another 8 rounds. Again, she dominated for all 8 rounds. So fairly steady night in the UK. You had Tim Tszyu knock out Carlos Ocampo quite emphatically. I don't know if you've seen that. He really puts him down. I think when you get to that sort of weight of boxing, that's when puncher's chance comes in.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
100%.
And looking forward, there was a press release, if you like, from the Errol Spence-Terence Crawford fight, which no one really sort of, there was nothing really going on. But Barry McGuigan has come out and is a bit concerned for Errol Spence. He seems to have been slurring his words quite a bit during the press conference, which, I mean, he's been around a bit, but probably still a bit young to have any lasting effects. I don't know, but again, I can't wait for that fight.
When is it?
The end of July 29th.
Moving on to US sport. So we've had the NBA wrapped up last week. The Nuggets won their first ever NBA championship, beating the Heat, which was
A turn up for the Bucks.
yeah, and I'll be honest, it probably wasn't the best game. But they just knew they just needed a win. Get a win at home, win it on your own soil.
4-1 as well in the series is quite a
That's, I think, what shocked
it's quite a jump,
everyone.
really.
To be fair, I mean, if you look at how the series has gone in sort of retrospect to the scoring, so game one, Nuggets 104-93. Game two, where the Heat tied it up 111 to 108. Game three with the Nuggets 109 to 94. Game four, 108 to 95, and then game what would be five, making it 94-89. Like it's just
Everything's been the biggest gap there was 15 points.
yeah.
Do you have you seen the Bill Burr interview where he talks about the NBA's fixed? It's all
I believe it.
It's all everything. You take 5 games there. I get it. Both teams are at the top of their game, but to have
It's
every game and you never see no one ever has an off day where they lose by 30.
yeah, it's where he says a team could be 25 up at half time, and miraculously by the end of the third quarter, there's like two in it.
Yeah, always, and
Yeah,
it's very. I don't watch much basketball. I can't really get on with it. It's very tit for tat. It's you got this end and score, we'll got that end and score. But it's how it's always within a.
what I find is if a team is dominating a match, then the refs will call the littlest things for fouls.
Which I think is what he's getting at.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think teams know it's fixed. I think it's referees fix it.
That's probably a few who, I mean, when Golden State won the championship a few years ago, no one saw that coming.
Right.
It was like a Nuggets thing in theory. Like everyone was like, yeah, it's going to be the Lakers or it's going to be the Heat. At that point, it would have been the Clippers when they just signed Kawhi Leonard. And yeah,
Out of nowhere.
yeah, they just did it out of nowhere. Speaking of doing it out of nowhere, Golden Knights.
Yeah, another one.
4-1 on the
Series, yeah.
And win it on home turf 9-3.
Oh, I didn't see the final score.
Yeah, 9-3. So they were 2 up in the first period, then they scored 4 in the second, 3 in the third.
They really took them to it in the second. Then.
Yeah, yeah. So again, doing it on your home turf. No one really saw that one coming either, to be fair.
No, I think because they're still a relatively new franchise, and I sort of said last week about how it's being a new franchise probably doesn't mean as much as being a new team in British sports with relegation promotion, but you've still got 82 games a season. You've still got,
Yeah.
you're not. It's still very difficult to be there or thereabouts at the end. So
Yeah.
fair play to them. I've got a soft spot for them anyway. Got a jersey upstairs and everything else. So, but yeah, it's nice to see them win. I'd still rather have seen Penguins win.
Yeah, yeah. Who wouldn't have? I mean, speaking of kind of US sport, move on to the MLS ever so slightly. Pretty much halfway through the season, in theory, and Messi's new team, bottom.
So how would that work then? Because he's a free agent from next week, 1st of July.
Mm.
Well, he's not a free agent. That's when his contract ends, and they've brought that out. So, or taken over. When would he probably integrate into their season? Do you think he'd be there in 2 weeks, or do you think he'll be there in a month?
No, I just think he'll just wait till the new season comes into effect.
I've seen the Inter Miami favourites for Georgie Alba as well.
Jordi Albert, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They're looking at Busquets as well.
Basically, the one 2015 Barcelona.
Yeah, they want Barcelona's 2015 midfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Who
I'd take,
wouldn't though?
I'd take it now. Yeah, but mm,
Formula One now, which unfortunately tonight is in Canada, so we're not going to be able to cover the race this week. However, it has been a fairly entertaining couple of days with first practice being cut short. Don't know if you saw. It was called off early due to the CCTV around the track not working. They had to stop first practice because it's not safe for other people and people around the track, which is always good to see them looking after people after what's happened a couple of times in Japan.
What's happened in Japan?
So we lost Jules Bianchi years ago when behind the safety car it was too wet and they had a car, they had the tractor on the side of the track.
Is it that one where he goes into it?
Yep.
Yes, I've seen that.
And then, oh, forgive me, I think it was last year. It will have been last year. There was in Japan again, and someone had broken down in the horrendous rain, which you get in Japan.
Yeah.
And there was a tractor and marshals on the track whilst it was only a yellow flag, not a red flag. So it could have, people could have very easily have died.
I may have seen that as well.
And it caused a bit of outrage, which rightly so it should. So Q2, practice 2, practice 3 just went as normal. You had Lewis Hamilton, George Russell top of practice 2, which was probably a bit of a turn out for the books. Verstappen took practice 3. Qualifying yesterday, Q1 was quite, well, it was damp, but it was drying out. Nothing major happened in that one. In Q2, it did dry out. However, towards the end, it started to rain again, and Leclerc and Perez hadn't put in good enough laps as it was drying out. It was people's 50-50 on whether to be on dry or wets, and I guess they made the wrong call. Got too wet, couldn't go any quicker. I think on the last flying lap, Perez was 2.5 seconds down on Hamilton, who was at the cut-off at 10th. I think Lewis got a little bit lucky. He was the quickest of the people that it didn't pan out for, so he got away with it, whereas Alex Albon had gone out early on the drives, put in a fast time, and was all right. Q3 by then was very wet, which became very interesting. You had numerous incidents. Oscar Pistori span hit the wall. It finished Max on pole, Nico Hulkenberg in the Haas on second, Alonso third, Hamilton fourth, Russell fifth. But it didn't stop there. Due to Nico Hulkenberg speeding under the safety car, unfortunately, Haas's front row starters being taken off them, which gutted for. I love Gunther Steiner. I love the Haas team. Gutted that he's not going to potentially have, pick up some big points there. You had Sainz, who qualified 8th, again, pretty poor from Ferrari standard. He did impede Gasly and Albon by putting his car in the middle of the apex on the corner of Champions Wall for no other reason than he just didn't want to let anybody complete a lap. The race tonight, I'm hoping for a bit of rain. I think that'll put Lewis amongst Max and Fernando a little bit more. I think it will be those three at the front at the end of the race, but with the rain, I think it will close them down a little bit and hopefully give Lewis a fighting chance. But Jordan will potentially be back next week, but we can cover that next week. Today we are currently on day 3 of the Ashes in the cricket,
which, as we are speaking, has just been stopped due to rain as well, which came out of nowhere.
I think we've had a couple of weeks of scorching heat, a few places expecting storms.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd expected it just yet. Day 1, a couple of quick wickets for Australia. England sort of put on a 393, which I know you're not massive on your cricket, but Ben Stokes declared.
Yeah,
to get a few overs in, which I think baffled a few people as
quite a few things circling on Twitter with Tuffers being as confused as ever. I think for me, Ben Stokes, he hates losing, but he's prepared to lose. A lot of people, they could have batted it out, gone into the second day, put Australia in by dinner. The big hoo-ha in Test cricket, too many draws, not being able to win over 5 days, people are batting slow. Like today, you've got rain, stop play. If you don't get enough in, you then start to do a count back, Duckworth-Lewis method. So I think what Stokes has done is, I quite like it. He's right, we've got a lead. Let's put him in. Let's try and get some wickets. They didn't get any wickets on day one night. Got a couple early on day two. Yeah. Unfortunately, Australia then did sort of go at it a little bit, and they did finish on 311 for 5. So they did kind of push a couple of early wickets. Broad went 2 for 2, was on for a hat trick. You had Moeen with a couple, with wickets. It took them probably a little bit longer than needed to this morning on day 3, I thought, to get Australia out, but Pat Cummins just sort of went in, just sort of put his bat against everything, just tried not to play too much, but they got the breakthrough. I think this Ashes they've got 5 tests over 6 weeks, which is quite a shortened one this year. And I think this pitch isn't playing well. I think if they can get some good wickets, I still think Australia, but I can see England taking this first test, and I think if they do come the third test, we might be having very different conversations around who we think are winning. I still think they'll do this test. They're there or thereabouts. They've up to 26 today, lead by 33. Hopefully this rain's not there to stay, and if you can get Root firing again, hit a century, not out 118, not out the other day. So I think if you can get Root going, Stokes can get find his range with the bat. Again, put up maybe 354 once the pitch starts moving. Who knows? So we'll move on to football. So of course, all the domestic leagues have now finished, but it's now sort of chance for the international games. You've got the final of the UEFA Nations League tonight with Croatia and Spain. Currently, as we're recording this, Italy are beating the Netherlands 2-0 in the third place playoff, which I can't really see the Italians letting that slip. So
I think that I've called that at the before the game as well.
You had Scotland get a 2-1 win against Norway.
Both very late goals as well.
They were, 89th and 91st.
Yeah.
Sorry, 87th and 89th, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then
England formality against Malta.
Yeah.
What did you think to Trent being in the middle?
It works, which if I was then McAllister going to Liverpool, I'd now be worried.
That's a point. Yeah, I didn't think of that. I've said for a long time that Trent should be in the middle of that Liverpool.
Well, yeah, I've said it for years. He's not that great of a defender. He's a good footballer.
Fantastic, yeah.
But he's not a defender.
No. A little bit like Carl Walker early doors, his pace helped him out a lot.
Yeah, and
he'd get caught out, get back, and recover.
Yeah, and Trent's got the ball playing ability to help
to get him out of the trouble.
Yeah, to get him out, which
did you see
worked.
So. Did you see our game against Armenia?
Yeah, I've kind of deleted that from my memory, I'll be honest.
Armenia have lost 9 out of the last 10 games.
Yeah.
Playing in Wales. That now, when we play Turkey, is far more important. That's put us on the back foot. I'm not.
Do you think then we were too reliant on Gareth Bale?
No, I don't. I think I don't think Rob Page is the right guy. I didn't think he was going into the
World Cup.
The World Cup. We're massively underachieving the World Cup. I don't think we play forward enough football with him. I just don't think.
Very defensive minded.
Yeah, well, no, we're just not creative. We don't we bring these players in and we just sort of go, there you go.
Which is a shame because, I mean, Dan James, fantastic on the ball. Just Meckham, even Kiefer.
I like Kiefer more, but he
Yeah.
won't get played. He'll play Dan James. He used to play Dan James and Gareth Bale up front together.
Yeah.
Two of the same players. In a Wales top, Dan James for me is being very, very average to give him the best compliment I possibly can.
Yeah.
He has not been the player that shined and went to Man United or even really started at Leeds. He didn't do bad initially at Leeds, but
Yeah. It's only the Turkey game can
redeem him.
redeem him, really. Of course, you've now got the transfer windows now open.
Yeah. Some big moves this week, really.
Some big moves, some crazy rumours as well.
Yeah.
Knocking about. Man United are preparing a £45 million bid for Jordan Pickford.
I just think there's far better keepers out there that they could go for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw as well they're up in 50 million for Mason Mount, which as a squad player would be very, very good in that team.
Yeah, I was on about this with somebody on Friday. Because obviously with United, where's he going to go? You've got Casemiro, Ericsson.
I think he's cover for Ericsson. I think he's that in behind.
See,
the new striker, if you like.
A discussion I was having was, do you think Fernandes is then going to be going?
No,
I think he would.
I don't think there's many teams that would take him. Not because he's not a player, just he's not a team player.
No.
Obviously, Bellingham to Madrid got over the line this week.
Yes.
89 million. Apparently.
Yeah. Which I'm happy about because it means they can't buy Harry Kane. So, yeah. Of course, Tottenham made Kulusevski a permanent signing yesterday.
Saw that, yeah. That's good.
Good business as well.
That budget,
25 mil.
That's because that'd have been a loan with an option to buy.
So the loan with the option to buy, so it was 10 million initial loan fee with an option to buy of 35 million, only if we got Champions League football. And Daniel Levy, being the smart businessman he is, has said to Juventus, we don't have that, so you can't exercise that 35 mil and give you 25.
Okay. Surprised Juventus didn't want to keep him. Why would you not? He's been fantastic. Unless he didn't want to stay.
There's potentially that. There's also, I mean, you've got to think with Juventus, they got all them points deductions, didn't they?
Yeah.
Season for transfers.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're going to kind of want to get players out the door, especially if you've got fines and sanctions hit you, just like Leon have had.
Yeah.
The last couple of days, is the owner's got to pay 60 million before the end of this month. He's got three options: sell the women's team, sell another women's team he owns, or he's got to offload some players. Which, I mean, they'll have players.
They'll have some players that they'll be able to get for that, but then you get rid of them players. You don't become the force you were if you have to take rid of all those players.
Exactly. I mean, to be fair, they've got some older defenders they could probably get rid of, and with the way the Saudis are taking players at the minute.
Well, I saw they obviously wanted Chelsea trying to offload Lukaku to Inter within a trade deal and things like that, and he's been offered to go Saudi. Wilfred Zaha has been offered to go. I think they're really trying to. I think we'll just end up with Chinese League 2.0 personally, but
you know what? I hope we do, because then I hope it fails, like the Chinese League did.
Yeah.
Because you can't just say, because we're a rich country, we're going to give you 300 million over 4 years to play in a very subpar, very average league.
So Ronaldo, when he went to the name of the team, I don't know the name of the team.
Al Nassr.
When he went to them, they were 8 points clear at the top.
They're not in contention to win anything now.
No. You had as well this week, Tielemans gone to Villa. I thought that was Arsenal nailed on. I would have taken, any top four club I think Tielemans could have gone to and had a.
He's been nailed onto Arsenal for about 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's just never.
Well, no, and I thought Mikel Arteta was just going to sit off on his contract.
He's linked to he's linked to PSG.
I saw that
management.
Yeah, I don't think he will. I think he's got a lot of affiliation with Arsenal and things, so I think he'll he'll stay there.
Yeah.
Also this week, you had João Pedro from Watford go to Brighton, and also James Milner was signed for Brighton.
Yeah, on a free.
Yeah, end of his contract, but still, he's still going to be playing European football
It's crazy, isn't it?
at 138 years old, or however old he is. He put some of these professionals to shame.
Well, for years and years, they always said, didn't they, Liverpool players in the preseason sort of fitness and things like that, he would win the beat test every time.
Every year. Yeah, he's phenomenal. He can play as well.
He must have been one of the Liverpool players who's not asthmatic.
Thanks for tuning in again to the Sportscast podcast. You can reach us on Twitter and Instagram at SportscastPod UK. Leave some feedback, send us a DM. We'll love to hear from you. Catch us next week, where we'll be looking forward to the Tour de France. You'll have the recap of the US Open and the Formula One, with conclusions happening tonight, unfortunately for us, over in the US, Canada. A bit too late for us to record and get out. I've been Liam.
I've been Tom.
We'll speak to you soon.